This is Game On with Nick and Bob. Scores, news, analysis, and opinionated opinions by those two scallywags of ghouls who know their sports, Nick Hofbauer and Robert Hester. Now beware of the great sports minds of Nick and Bob. If you dare.
Where did that guy come from?
Must be Halloween. Must be the day before Halloween or All Hallows Eve.
That dude was weird.
You tell me. You're telling me.
Alrighty, but now that creepy guy is gone, let's go straight to the top 25 of college football. Number 1, Alabama. Number 2, Florida. Number 3, Texas. Number 4, Iowa. Number 5, USC. Number 6, TCU. Number 7, Boise State. Number 8, Cincinnati. Number 9, LSU. Number 10, Oregon. Number 11, Georgia Tech. Number 12, Penn State. Number 13, Virginia Tech. Rob, you do the rest.
Number 14, Oklahoma State. Number 15, your Pittsburgh Panthers, like them or not. Number 16, they play in your town. Number 16, the team Pitt lost to in their first and only bowl game, BCS game appearance back in 2004, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, Utah. Number 17, the Ohio State University Buckeyes. Number 18, Houston. Number 19, the U, Miami of Florida. Number 20, Arizona. Number 21, WVU. Number 22, if you're scoring at home, number 21, WVU, West Virginia. Number 22, South Carolina. Number 23, the Irish of Notre Dame. Number 24, California. That's the state, the California Golden Bears out in the state of California. And number 25, Ole Miss.
I was looking at the top 25 today. There have been some very interesting movements between Notre Dame, California, and Mississippi. But me personally, I thought Penn State would be a little bit higher, you know? Rob, do you really think Penn State deserves to be higher?
Of course, especially if you're one Penn Stater named Julie Bologna, who we plan on visiting in a couple weeks, hopefully. Depends on Miss Hart's decision. She has to make the decision to make the tour. But as for Penn State, I think they deserve to be a little bit more higher, despite the fact that they've partially fallen off the face of the earth after they got upset by Iowa. They're a great team. They sure as heck have a great coach. They sure as heck have a great fan base, and they sure as heck have a bunch of great players that fill the fan base. But correct me if I'm wrong, but is there a rumor going around that there may be a possibility in January that we may, let's just say, since it's being Halloween, like the next to final scene in the Addams Family, that there may be a possibility that the BCS may wake the dead, i.e., in a BCS bowl game, the Tostitos Fiesta Bowl, Penn State taking on the Pitt Panthers out in Glendale, Arizona.
There's a very high possibility of that. I've heard about it all over the place. And I gotta admit, if that does happen, that's one bowl game everyone's gonna be tuned into nationwide.
Not to mention that it could be the next to last bowl game before the BCS National Championship out at Pasadena at the Rose Bowl. And speaking of which, one of those requirements for that inevitability to become a reality again is that Texas has to play. There's a rumor going around that Texas has to play in the national championship game against whoever they face. And for Pitt, they have to win out the rest of the season. That includes win against Notre Dame. Well, actually, they're not in the Big East Conference, but you'd like to see them beat Notre Dame for the sake of being considered still in the BCS race. But they have to beat Notre Dame, beat West Virginia, and on December 5th, win the Big East Conference Championship at the friendly confines of Heinz Field and the some sort of trophy that they have, a river trophy, as well as the Big East Conference Championship over, left the rankings, one of the teams that's in the top 10, division rival Cincinnati. So I would love to see this, and probably we'd be talking about, dare I say, as high of ratings. The ratings would be as high for any collegiate event, much less football, since Magic Johnson and Larry Bird took on each other for the first time ever in the 1979 NCAA men's basketball championship game out in Salt Lake City, Utah, which Magic Johnson, Irvin Johnson, as he was known, played for the team that won the national championship, the Michigan State Spartans, and Larry Bird, of course, played against them and lost to him when he was a member of the Indiana and a student at the Indiana State University, the Indiana State Sycamores, and of course they'd meet each other 4 times in the 80s, 3 times, 1984, 85, and 87, when Magic beat Bird twice, when Magic was a member of the Lakers and Bird was a member of the Celtics. Not to mention the Lakers and Celtics met as many times in the 80s as Larry Bird would have NBA titles, 80, 81, 84, and 86, and of course Magic would be a champion with the Lakers in 80, 82, 85, 87, and 88. And did you know that that it was in every NBA final series, either in the 1980s, it featured either the Boston Celtics or the LA Lakers that decade?
No, I didn't know that one.
Yep, and the only 2 teams that won the NBA World Championship that decade, other than the Lakers and Celtics, were 2 teams that would beat the Lakers that year, the LA Lakers. 83, the Philadelphia 76ers swept the Lakers in 4 straight. That was in 1983. And the Detroit Pistons did the same thing, sweep the Lakers 6 years later in 1989, led by Isaiah Thomas. The Detroit Pistons, of course, if I didn't get the name right.
Right, we're going to go to NHL now. The Islanders will face the Capitals. The Penguins will face the Blue Jackets. Sabres will face the Maple Leafs. The Blackhawks will face the Canadiens. Panthers will face off against the Stars. Sharks will battle the Avalanche. And the Canucks will face the Ducks. Now, me and Brown Beavers talking about the Penguins and the loss of Sergei Gonchar. But I don't know. I think it's going to be interesting with the game against the Blue Jackets.
We also forgot to mention that they're without Evgeny Malkin, last year's Conn Smythe Trophy Award winner, as the MVP of the Stanley Cup playoffs. And he had a whale of a playoff series, I might add. All of them against Philly, the Caps, DC Caps, Washington Capitals, Carolina Hurricanes, and Detroit Red Wings. But this is a huge loss for him. He'll be out 3 to 4 weeks due to a separated shoulder. But they have Sid, they have Fleury, they have Uncle Billy, Bill Guerin. Who else they have? They have Kunitz. They have
Orpik.
Brooks Orpik, the Hammer, as I like to call him. His name's number 44, as in Hammer and Hank Aaron's number was 44.
Armstrong?
Which Colby Armstrong's no longer with the Penguins, by the way. He was in place for the Atlanta Thrashers. They have everybody, and of course they have, above all else, head coach Dan Bylsma, not to mention the best fans in hockey, bar none. And a fan base that's as popular as the Steelers. Of course, no fan base in Pittsburgh and Western Pennsylvania will top the Steelers. Either they'll be tied with them or below. But the Penguins, they are simply still the class of the NHL. They still have players that justify it. And in terms of them playing against the Blue Jackets tonight, October 30th, and the Wild at home at Mellon Arena. Don't have the date here when they're playing them. I say they're in pretty good shape to have a great November as they did had an awesome October, and we could be talking about the Pens leaving Mellon Arena in style again in terms of winning the Stanley Cup in their final game ever at Mellon Arena and raising their 4th Stanley Cup championship banner to open up the Consol Energy Center next year, or as I like to call it,